Hi guys, and welcome back for another video review here in Ricky's Vape Spot. Today we'll be taking a look at the iStick Pico by Eleaf. Now, ever since the first iStick came out, I was basically a huge fan of it, mainly because of its small form factor, and second of all, it was really a budget device. And the first iStick did have some minor issues, like it couldn't go below 1 ohm, got only up to 20 watts, and the 510 connection wasn't spring-loaded, and it was really bad material that would wear out after some usage. But I never really minded those issues, and then later when the 30-watt iStick came out and it got rid of the overhang for all those 22mm tanks, I really enjoyed using it because it was really pocket friendly and the battery life was just amazing out of it. So Eleaf basically has moved a long way since their original design, and ever since the 60-watt TC model came out, they did include removable batteries in all their devices, which can be a con and a pro, of course. For some more advanced users, I also rather have removable batteries in my device. But for some beginner users, I always kind of think it's to have everything included in one device. And I think that Eleaf is setting some new design standards with the iStick Pico, and I think they did a really nice job with it. But before we talk a little bit more about it, I think we should get down and have a closer look at it. So here we are, all close up and personal with the iStick Pico. The Pico comes in this nice presentation box, as we're already used from Eleaf. Pico actually stands for Preferable, Innovative, Compact, Outstanding. Whatever that means. It does have upgradable firmware, as we can see here on the top. It does come in a variety of colors. We have black, white, hot pink, silver, and gray. And on the back there is a scratch and check code, as well as what's included in the box. So let's open the box, and greeted we are with the device itself. So let's set this aside for a while and check what's underneath in the box. Underneath we will find a rather thick user manual and a USB cable. That's about it, what's inside. So we can set this aside too. So the next thing we'll do is look at this device from top to bottom. On the top we do have a 510 spring-loaded pin. This here is the battery cap, although it does look like a fire button, but it is the battery cap. The fire button is situated on the side. Here you can see the screen. There's a USB port that is used either for charging and for upgradable firmware. And on the bottom we do have a plus and a minus button, recessed so when you sit it on the table it does sit flat. As said, on top there is a removable battery cap. We can unscrew that. Threading is rather nice. We'll take a battery. Positive side goes down like so. And in case you wondered, there is a minus sign indicated in the battery cap. We screw that in and we should get some connection, and we do. Before we go through the menu system, I think we should maybe compare it to some other mods that I have standing around. I'll take the iStick 40 watt. Next to it I will put also the iStick 50 watt. And here is the Evic VTC Mini. The weight of the device, let's turn this on. The weight of the device with the battery installed is 135 grams, 135.5 grams. We can take the iStick 50 watt in comparison, 152. So it is rather heavier, not that much lighter than the iStick 50 watt. Without the battery, it's rather light, we can check that out too. Without the battery, it comes in at 90.4 grams. So 5 clicks to turn it on, 5 clicks to turn it off. I have it in wattage mode now. The up and down button function normally. If you wish to change the mode, you click it 3 times, 1, 2, 3, and then you can switch between modes. We have bypass mode, temperature nickel, temperature titanium, temperature stainless steel, as well as M1, M2, and M3. Let's keep it in wattage mode. So while the device is turned on, if you hold down the plus and the minus button at the same time, you can actually lock the device. Okay, so let's unlock it. If you hold the minus and the fire button, you put it in stealth mode. If you hold the fire button and the plus button at the same time, you will actually be able to lock the resistance, but I don't have an atomizer on, so we'll do that a little bit later. And that's about when it's on. Of course, when you put it, for example, in 1, 2, 3, I'll show that. When you put it, for example, in temperature mode, so now when you press, if you want to change the wattage, you press it 4 times, 1, 2, 3, 4, and now you can actually adjust the wattage. Let's leave that at 30, and by pressing the fire button again, it will dial it in. The temperature is just simply changed by the plus and minus button here. So when you power down the device with 5 clicks, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, by holding both the minus and the plus button at the same time, you will be able to switch the screen rotation. Let's switch it back again so you can see it. Okay, by holding the fire button and the minus button, you can see the battery percentage, the battery power, and by holding the plus and the fire button at the same time, you will go into the M1 and M2 modes, which are basically user presets for the TCR temperature coefficient ratio, and you can basically dial that in to your liking for the wire that you're using basically. So switching that with the fire button, you switch from M1 to the actual TCR value, and then you can basically choose between M1, M2, and 3. So if you want to dial something in, you just basically leave it on until the screen turns out and your settings are saved. So I think that's about it for the close-up look. I think we should go up on top and have a vape. So that's the iStick Pico. I actually wanted to show you something, and that is, for example, this is the iStick 50 watt device. It's basically the same, it's just shrunken down. Okay, so the iStick Pico versus the iStick 50 watt device. I'm not sure if you can see that, but the form factor is the same. It's just a little bit shorter, and it does have the battery cap on top. Another thing that I wanted to point out and that I really think looks great. Okay, first of all, the screen. The iStick 50 watt and the iStick Pico, we have a much larger and brighter screen on the Pico, so I'm actually glad they moved that because this one looks really nice. And second of all, what I wanted to point out, they have this chromed finish on all those earlier versions of the devices, and now they kind of moved to this brushed stainless steel finish, which I think looks much more high-end than it does on those older devices. I could actually imagine having some kind of a wood body around it. I think it would look really nice. It does, all in all, it does feel much more high-end than all those other versions of the iStick. So given that, it's really nice. So let's go through some specs. The iStick Pico is basically a 75 watt device. In variable wattage mode, it goes from 1 to 75 watts. The coil resistance it takes is 0.1 ohms to maximum of 3.5 ohms in wattage mode. In bypass mode it's basically the same, so from 0.1 to 3.5 ohms. So in temperature control mode it will take a coil down to 0.05 ohms with it max at 1.5 ohms, and the temperature range will go from 100 to 315 Celsius or 200 to 600 Fahrenheit. So this device does have a lot of protection built into it, low voltage protection, temperature alerts, weak battery alerts, and all that good stuff. And it does have upgradable firmware, so if they come out with a new firmware, you just connect your device to the computer, go to Eleaf's website, download the software and update the device. So the diameter is actually 22 millimeters. I think it could even fit a 23 millimeter device. We can check that out. One thing that you have to know is that the battery cap on top will minimize the diameter of the tank that you can put on. So for example, if you have a larger, so this does have a little bit of play in here, if you can see that. But I can take for example, a 23 millimeter device, the Atomizer for example. So when I screw that on, there is little, maybe no play between that. If you can see that. So anything larger than 23 millimeters, I don't think you will be able to screw it down. But it is what it is. So I think the iStick Pico basically looks the best with shorter tanks on it. Like for example, I have this Wisemac Amod sitting on it, because for example I can take the K-Fun V4. Okay, so it does look okay, but it is a little bit top heavy. Okay, so I don't know, it kind of gets the whole pocket friendly idea out of the way if you have a taller Atomizer sitting on top. And the K-Fun Mini is rather actually tall too, although it's a smaller tank, but it kind of looks, I mean, not so bad, but still I'd rather have it like a little bit shorter. So all in all, it's a really nice device. I definitely would recommend it to someone looking for a smaller device. So let's talk about price. I got mine here in Croatia at mtmstore.eu, and at their website it's currently in stock, and it goes for 54.35 euros. So yeah, all in all, I think it's a really nice small device if you want something more compact for your everyday usage. For me personally, shorter tanks look much better on it. I could actually see in the future that Eleaf will come out with some maybe special editions of their devices where they would put some real wood on it. I think it will look pretty sick. But then again, we'll see. It is what it is. So that was a closer look at the iStick Pico by Eleaf. I hope you did enjoy this review. If you did, please like and subscribe to my channel. That would mean a lot to me. I'm wishing you all a wonderful rest of the day, and I'll see you again soon.